Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 117, and today we're doing battle with Akshan Renekton. And so, if you're a daily follower, this will look pretty similar to the deck we played yesterday. Yesterday we were doing battle with Akshan Nar, and both of the decks are carrying kind of this same concept as to where we want to deal about 4 to 6 damage to our opponents. We have a lot of early game to help achieve that with these 1-drops and the Yordle Squires and the birds and the actions. And then we're looking to get this gigantic double striking overwhelm attack in. So we'll put the Papercraft Dragon onto something like Ruin Runner, which is big, has overwhelm, and has spell shield, or we'll put it onto Renekton, and then we'll try and get a big OTK styled kill. Now, to give some quick differences between this deck and the Gnar deck that we played yesterday, we have done a full swap of Gnar for Renekton, and then the Gnar deck is playing 3 copies of Inventive Chemist, 3 copies of Shaped Stone. Here we have completely removed the Chemist and 1 copy of Shaped Stone to include 2 copies of Exhaust and 2 copies of Ruthless Predator. And so it doesn't sound like much, but the play patterns in these decks are actually quite different. The first thing that you'll kind of notice is that if you're just looking to get a straight up OTK, if you have the 6 damage from Ruin Runner, Papercraft Dragon it up to 8, 8 doubles up to 16, then you need 16 damage, right? You have to get 4 points of damage in to get all the way up to 20. That was a little bit easier with the Gnar deck. We're playing the Inventive Chemist. It's easy to get some early chip damage in. The Chemist Landmark Blast Cone thing does some additional points of damage. Gnar can generate some Pokey Sticks. You have some additional ways to come out and deal a couple of extra points of damage. That's a little bit more challenging here with Renekton than it is with Gnar. And then the kind of second piece is if we are going with an OTK for our champion, Renekton kind of needs you to do some challenges, right? If you're looking at Gnar, Mega Gnar is just straight up slightly bigger than Renekton, which does amount to 2 points of damage instead of 1 if we're getting the double strike attack in. But Renekton can quickly trump the amount of damage that Gnar is doing if he's attached to a challenge. And so there's a little bit of give and take between the two kind of ideas and concepts. The big thing that we'll see coming out of this deck is these games to where we aren't immediately trying to deliver an OTK. Action becomes much stronger in this style of deck, given that we have the Ruthless Predator and the Exhaust to help Action get quick attack challenges in the early game. And so you can hopefully get a little bit more board control as opposed to just slamming the face and saying, "Ha! I did my 5 damage. I'm done. I'm done with that. Let's quit interacting with each other and let's see if you can respond to my giant overwhelm unit now." Right? You have a little bit more play with this Renekton deck, but some of the positive or negative, however you want to look at it, side to that play, is Renekton is going to be a little bit more vulnerable. When we're playing Gnars, we could just play Gnar on turn 4, attack with his quick attack, and have him be pretty safe. But in terms of Renekton attacking on turn 4, while he'll probably win the combat, is going to soak up some damage. And so he does have to start to worry a little bit more about all of the Noxus suite of removal. He has to worry a little bit more about being in Mystic Shot range. He's just a little bit more susceptible. And so the way I kind of like to look at it is I feel like the Renekton plays are much more powerful, but the Gnar plays are a little bit more consistent. And so as we kind of come up to seasonals, I'm very interested in bringing one of these 2 decks. And so I want to see which of these we like a little bit more, and we'll probably have one of these make our final lineup. And so, with that intro out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on into battle. Checked out our deck. We have paid the pay-to-win price. This was a lot of cards that were quite popular in Expedition, and so a lot of our deck was already just leveled up from that. But I think the only thing missing in here is the Papercraft Dragon. I know our Renekton is leveled up, our Action is leveled up, and he's pulse-fired, and so we're real close to just the full-on premium lineup. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how close we are at seasonals. If we're gonna play the Draven Burn deck, it's 100% premium. If we're gonna play this, we just have to level up the Papercraft Dragons, and that just leaves us with whatever deck number 3 is going to be. Okay, so up against Aphelios Bard. With these openers, I don't like to hang on to our Overwhelm units. I don't want to keep Renekton. I don't want to keep Ruin Runner, but I will hang on to Papercraft Dragons. This is just the the stronger piece of the puzzle that we must find. We can even win games just putting papercraft dragons onto Vakuran Vagabond or something, right? It has lots of options, but stacking up on our other overwhelm units just isn't quite as strong. You will see some of these lists come out and play a bunch of predicts to help try and find the Papercraft Dragon. Not entirely sure where I stand on that. I'm not doing it. You know, I'll have to think about it some more and perhaps give it a go. But I know with these, I am really happy with the Rite of Negations and the Wallops and the Pokey Sticks. I don't really feel like cutting any of those. All right. Bard is resisting well. We have got 0 damage in with our early game plays. Gonna have to do a bit of work to get up to that full 20. Alright, bring him, my dude. I don't got any blocks. Esmuth, bringing all the damages in. Okay. Alright, we'll take it. Alright, now we can start doing stuff with Renekton. He should be pretty safe against this deck. The only way that they should have to deal damage to champions would be either like something really off meta like Sunburst. The more likely options to deal with champions are just going to be the stun card, right? The 5 mana chime, stun something, deal 2 to something. And so I would like to keep Renekton a little bit healthy, but I think it's probably safe enough to just slam into the Duskbringer here. Nice. The big kind of important thing with this sequence is it lets us bank this 3 mana. We can add Ruin Runner to the board now. Next turn, we can play the Papercraft Dragon onto the Ruin Runner, and then we're pretty well set in terms of spells. We can pop off a Rite of Negation if we need to, or we can say like hook Esmuth in front of our double striking Ruin Runner. We have lots of options with this mana. You don't really want to be going into your big OTK turn without the option to play some spells. And so we can do like a Ruthless Predator hook to get in a ton of damage. We can attack and then wallop something out of combat. We can play Rite of Negation, whatever, right? We just have tons and tons of good options here. But definitely want to put the Papercraft onto our spell shielded unit. You're not getting the big booms in right now, Renekton. He does bring some serious damage in, but that's not what we're going to go for. Okay, we should be good now. If he's going to try and stack off spells, we can Rite of Negation these away. He does have this really meaty Solari Shield Bearer out here, though. Little scary. So what are we coming in here for? We have 18 into the Shieldbreaker. That's going to be 13 in total. Looks like we're going to be a damage short of a lethal here. But I'm not letting him resolve these spells. At the end of the day, we're not going to get the kill, but he's going to be super far behind as he has to sacrifice his whole board without us losing anything. Yes, gotta flip those around. There you go. It's alright, we didn't get the OTK, but that's fine. He has 2 cards in hand. He has to kill us with very little resources here. We have a Wallop to shut down a piece of an attack. We're looking at just incredibly strong. Dooley's not, probably not going to do it. More like Madon'tly, am I right? GG. All right. Next battle is upon us. Whew. So if you all out there, you got some cash to burn, hashtag here comes an advertisement. I wish you could get some of those advertising dollars from Amazon, but it's Prime Day. I always really recommend, oh man, by the time this video comes out, it'll be 2 days out. I'm ahead on a video. Prime Day will probably be gone, but wah for you. But I always kind of recommend shopping at your local store if you can. It was such a gigantic part of my childhood having the local game store to go to play Magic at and play Magic tournaments at and stuff. That I typically will pay a couple of extra dollars just to buy stuff locally, but I usually just look towards Prime Day to buy board games with. There's always a lot of like $100 board games that I just don't want to spend money on. And so when Prime Day comes around and those things are like 25 to 40 to 50% off, I am willing to drop a few dollars and get them on the cheap, because otherwise I just wouldn't buy it. So I don't feel like I'm really taking away from the local store. But I did look to pick up a copy of the Zombicide Space Marine edition. I can't remember what it's called. It hasn't come in yet, but the Zombicide Space Marines, and then oh, I got something else. I know I did kind of, I guess, feel bad about this one. I got the big King of Tokyo box set that has all the expansions in it. I have one of my nephews really enjoys King of Tokyo, and so he's gonna get that for Christmas. Spoiler alert. And then I got a copy of Camel Up. Camel Up is another one that I feel kind of bad about. I could get that at the local store, but it was something like half off as well. Camel Up is a fantastic racing-based board game. Highly recommended from old FTP Bust. It's going to be a part of the collection now. So yeah, I guess Amazon bamboozled me, right? If I just had no plans to purchase. How do we want to do this? I kind of want to like kill some of these units in combat, but we should just be slamming this Merciless Hunter in for damage. I guess they got me. They got me on the Zombicide purchase, and then I purchased some local game store style goods. But this is what it is. It's part of the collection now. Also bought some dish soap. It's such a weird ass collection of things that will land in your Amazon order. Dish soap. All right, so how are we going to pull this one off? I was planning on open attacking, but now that we've picked up an exhaust, I'm thinking about it a little bit more. The thing we can do with the exhaust is not use it this turn, load up a fearsome with the Papercraft Dragon, and then, as opponent has tiny board, we can get these Papercraft Dragon attacks in with a fearsome as opposed to using an overwhelm. And so that's what I'm kind of looking towards now. I think I'm good. Hang on, if we're going to go about it that way, the downside to this is if we say play Merciless Hunter and then he's like, LOL, it's Aphelios. I have a big blocker now. But I think we're okay if he drops a big blocker. The Boom Baboon would be the unfortunate one. But Crescent Strike, that's kind of fucked up. We were going to do cool stuff. Maybe next time, I guess. All right, well, that's at least a pretty healthy mana investment from our opponent. Then we do still nicely have the Ballistic Bot Fearsomed, which plays into that same idea, right? We can hook, or we have him vulnerable. We can hook the Ballistic Bot with Bird, maybe hook something else out of combat with our little Merciless Hunter, and then get a Papercraft kill. I am a little worried about dropping a Papercraft Dragon and then him having a Thermogenic Beam. Let's just say that this fearsome attack is probably good enough. There's Moon Boy. He would have been problematic if we, say, loaded up the dragon and then he plays Gravitum. Yeah, looks like that's still his plan. But, okay. That's fine. I still feel fairly okay here. Let's give him a chance to do some dumb stuff and make his units stronger. Just do the general game plan, if you will, from the Aphelios deck. And see how far along we can get with one of these paper crafts. This should elicit a response. Can we ever lethal this turn? That is a valid question, right? If he plays something irrelevant, I don't know, plays Esmuth, right? Then we can still hook his fearsome exhaust Aphelios, uh, and then just go for it with the Merciless Hunter. What's his angle out of this? Do they play Hush? I can't remember if these dumb decks play Hush. 16. You can exhaust plus Absolver. You know what the kids say. They say, fuck around, find out. Oh, I guess he can Pale Cascade out of this. I'm a little less excited about this with the consideration of Pale Cascade. Let's just do it like this. I don't have the stones to just go all in on this anymore. Uh-oh. He's feeling good about it. He's got all the cards, the Get Excited, the Mystic Shot. Sure. Picks up Crescendum. But Aphelios down. His Elusive is off of the board. Hopefully we're... well, he doesn't have the mana for Winding Light stuff anyways. So we can still maybe do some cool stuff on this next turn. And we still have a bunch of Papercraft Dragons. And so always something to be mindful of. Who do we want to load up? It's a little awkward if he has a... well, this is a +3/+3 Papercraft. I say it's a little awkward if he has a Get Excited, but I think this is still fine. All right, Victor gets the flip. Hey, it is an Esmuth. Pretty decent here. Ten is a little much. I think we probably have to come in and just block all of this. Like I'm having trouble envisioning a scenario where we're able to just get a kill next turn.
You're dead meat. This one's a fighter.
Okay. All right, Merciless Hunter, get in there. Oh, he's got a bonus on the Fancier. This deck. I can't wait to just play seasonals and ban this deck every single time. That's that's the game plan. I still have been working on the seasonals lineup. Just have no intention whatsoever to play against Aphelios at any time. Just completely ban it out of here. Is actually playing that, huh? Wow. Interesting.
We're not taking it. We're taking it back.
Let's see what happens. We could have added the Papercraft to the board. Maybe we just have to at this point. We'll likely just end up losing a unit in this combat anyways. We're going to have to stun the Submersible. but I don't think we're dead.
Lunari, rise. Not a chance.
Okay. See where that gets us. The real downside to this one is like we're 13 cards into our deck and haven't seen a champion, and so we can't come out here and use our absolvers or anything. Okay, sure. Not bad. Like, I like how that game went in that we drew 0 Ruin Runners, we drew 0 Renekton's, we drew 0 actions, and then we had a lot of paths to victory through through our fearsome double strikes. We weren't able to get there at the end, but we were in it in a matchup. We have no intention of ever playing in, so it is nice to at least see those things kind of perk up a little bit. All right, would love to get to just sit around and play against a bunch of Heimerdinger Jace. This, on the flip side, is something I suspect we're going to have to play a lot of. Like the idea that I have coming up for seasonals is I'm still going to play the burn deck. I'm going to play this or the Gnar deck, and then I'm looking to play. Oh, what was the third one? Forget what it was. I have it on my spreadsheet, but just ban the Aphelios deck every time, and then our matchups against the Heimerdinger Jace, and then the matchup against Twisted Fate Annie are still just good enough to not completely worry about. The Talia Lysandra matchup is a real nightmare. That's the big worrying moment I have, but like I think I'm fine playing against Heimerdinger Jace. Okay. What up, Reggie? A lot of times against Heimerdinger Jace, you do want to pick up the shield. I don't think we're in too much worry at the moment of getting hit by Vile Feasts. All right, get a big chunk of damage in here. We have the Pokey Stick to take down this this Forge Worker if we ever want to, but basically just need to pick up a Papercraft now. This is, I guess, a lot of the argument behind playing playing with the predict units. There we go. It came to me. it just took a minute to get there. All right, we'll throw our Merciless Hunter down. He's just going to get a block in front of her anyways. We'll leave Akshan up since he can get a quick attack challenge on the Forge Worker. Let's see how this goes. I don't really want to have to be playing Ruin Runners next turn. I want it to have the spell shield up as we move into combat. Looks like that's where we're going to be. So this is just going to be a turn of banking a bunch of mana. We can flip our action if we want to. You have to kind of like ask yourself if you would prefer to do it on the next turn or on our next attack token so you can get the Sandstone Charger. I don't think we're ever going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a Tiny Spear so that this Palace flips on our next turn and gives us a chance to play a card that isn't Ruin Runner. We still get to play the Predict Draw thing. I think it'll be okay this way. You cannot run from absolution. And we pick up the Renekton, but he's a little scarier here, right? He doesn't have Spell Shield. He's going to take a little bit more work. And so We'll see if we pick up something interesting and strong. Absolver is kind of interesting in that it would let us potentially go for, say, like action kills, but I think I just want to pick up the Wallop here. Gives us a good way to try and finish in combat if we need to. And then it also lets us be defensive on our next turn if something goes wrong with this. If he says, like, Herder, here's a Vile Feast onto our Ruin Runner right now, it gives us an option next turn to be a little bit safer. Yeah.
That old trick again.
So how do we want to go about this? Do we even want to play the Papercraft Dragon this turn? I feel like that's a valid question. And maybe we want to just go for a Ruthless Predator Renekton out of this. But he's going to pop the Spell Shield every time, but... I think I do like this Renekton. Where are we at? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It would be 12 if we want to play everything. One short of that, but we shouldn't need to play 2 Ruthless Predators this turn. Okay. There's the Vengeance coming right at us. Man, I almost wish we would have taken that Absolver now. We probably could have gotten Absolver kill with action this turn. Probably. And a beam. This dude's playing all the mean cards. So going to start doing this thing again. This Merciless Predator is just not going to fall off the board for the rest of the game. This wasn't even on the board. We didn't even have a Merciless Predator, and she just comes out here to be like, Varg, I'm here. Another meal for Renekton, whatever this girl likes to say.
We're not taking it. We're taking it back.
We might as well go ahead and take the block. We're not going to get any more out of Bird. And then we'll have 2 good attacks next turn, I guess, if we can Papercraft the Vagabond. Need to pick up an Absolver for the Overwhelm, but has some options. And then he should have some weird shit in hand. He has a Reggie 6-coster and then another 6-coster off of that Flash of Brilliance, so he has a lot of expensive stuff. No real telling what his expensives would be here. Okay, so that's essentially exactly what he has. He has a random 7, a manifested 7, and then his acceleration gate. Now we get the Absolver. Sweet. So we're lethal just shoving the damage in, right? We're at 16. So we can do this and then choose to play cards after. We should be getting OTK here. Where does that get us, game? Neg 17? And we can stop there. Progress day. Dang, son. I don't... Well, I was gonna stop and say, it's like, I don't think I liked our attack there, but I think now that like I stop and ponder it a little more, the angle... Well, where this is going is I'm thinking of that Absolver, right? And we're getting into combat, playing both halves of the Absolver. That's flipping our Warlord's Horde. I was trying to think if we should have played the Papercraft Dragon onto action with the intent of us trying to flip our Warlord's Palace and then in turn give him Spell Shield, right? You have the option in there that gives all of your champions 2/2 and Spell Shield, which is extremely relevant trying to do these OTKs, but... we wouldn't have known we had the Absolver until next turn. I guess we could have looked to, say, like, put the Papercraft Dragon onto action, then Ruthless Predator to action, and then we would have been closer. Maybe we could have been like, well, if we want to try and pick up a draw 2 to really dig for stuff, we could have done it that way. But that's all just kind of like hinging on finding the Absolver. And I'm not really amped about that. But that is also a kind of interesting and important distinction between this deck and the Gnar version. Is Gnar is pretty fucking easy to flip, right? You just throw a pokey stick at your opponent's face and you say, LOL, I did it. As to where Renekton is actually pretty tough to flip. And if you want to set up these turns to where, like with that board, to where we needed a... where we needed to get the Papercraft Dragon onto a non-overwhelm unit and hit the Absolver, it's a lot tougher to get that Absolver flip coming out of a Renekton. And that's like especially considering our game plan coming up for seasonals is to where, again, like I plan to just ban Aphelios and do battle against all of the Heimerdinger Jaces and do battle against all of the Twisted Fate Annies. And so it is a real concern with this Renekton sitting around having points of damage on him. God, we're so good. Like, we're at a 66%er for this bird to be good, right? I want bird to hit either Renekton or Akshan, but we got this Yordle Squire in hand. I was really thinking of just playing the Squire and then maybe getting bird going next turn, because we're not attacking with Akshan next turn. That's probably just a better way to go about it. We miss out on one tick from the Warlord's Palace, but... Interesting. Then we're up against Jinx Bard, if you didn't see it. Wow, must feel pretty nice hitting double chimes on turn 2. Oh my god, fucking people, am I right? Fucking people. But here, I'm going to play both Squires. I'm going to pick up one Spear and I'm going to pick up one Shield. There is a world where we would like to try and protect some of our champions with the shield from the various Mystic Shots and get excited so that these dum-dums play.
Don't want to die? Don't do terrible things.
Nice looking aggro board, though. In and out. There's I don't know why that one just came to me, but there's a wonderful song by The Who. It's called Squeezebox. It goes like oh, how does it go? It's basically like mama's got a squeeze box up on her chest. Something 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 about boobs, and then they just keep going back and forth by saying in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. It is like one of the most sexually explicit songs ever made, but they were getting that shit on the radio back in the 70s because they didn't use the coarse language. Oh, it is that line. I can't remember it. After Mama's got a squeeze box up on her chest. I can't remember what those guys were going on about. You're welcome. You're welcome to have Bust here to teach you all these important things. All right. Anywho, though, we're going to skip on the Vagabond. We're going to make a big shot onto this Flame Chompers here and just go for this big chunk of damage in this early game. He's going to have to just like start interacting with our stuff because he's just going to get boomed if he does it. So this seems pretty okay. We'll get to flip our action next turn with this Vagabond. I mean, he's limited to things like get excited. If he has a double burn spell, I guess that's a thing. But I like this big aggressive play that either forces them to play, 2 removal spells out of hand or to give up one of their good units on board for nothing. Okay. Well, it's up to you now. It's up to you in action. You got to do the big work. It's a big old bard. No denying that. So what do we want to do here? I think we need to be getting the Vagabond down. I don't want to play Sandstone Charger here. I think we're like safe enough that we can do a predict draw. And we should probably just be looking for paper crafts at this point. Don't find them. Renekton's here to party. We do have action, but no targetables, so we can't be doing grappling hooks this turn. I'm just going to pick up the Renekton.
Must be nice living off stolen coin.
So we should be able to just get a bunch of dudes on board this turn. Was that too dangerous? We're getting domed a lot harder than I really wanted to here. Fall to 8 after he's already played 2 burn spells. I guess that's kind of safe.
Arda's gonna make a meal of 'em.
All right, so now we have this preemptive hook onto Bard. We can use Renekton to take him down. No ill effects. I mean, we have a strong board here. I just worry about getting burnt out. I'll worry about it a little less when we pick up the Rite of Negation, but definitely scary. All right, well, there's all the combos and everything. Do we want to just try and open with it next turn? Probably no real reason to. I mean, he's playing the P and Z deck. They just don't have the interactivity. He can have the stun thing, whatever it's called. I don't think we're really worried about it. Down to 1 card now. Oh. That's generous. Why?
My desert, my rules.
Does this deck play Suit Up?
You lost?
How bad it is? It's okay if they play Suit Up. If his last card is Suit Up and he suits up the Bell Ring to take down our Ruin Runner, then we're still in a spot next turn to Papercraft our Renekton and get a big exhaust attack in. And so I think that's safe. To just not risk the extra points of damage there. Cool. GG. Nice battles. Mark it 3-1. All right, next battle. Here we go. We got some Bard and some Alawi. Alright. All these Bard matchups feel pretty decent. It's like the thing with taking this deck against Bard, the way I kind of described it in the NAR videos, you play against Bard, you play against most of the Demacia decks. They're a lot of times just trying to win the games on the back of stats. And if they don't get their stats wide enough, or if they leave a low health unit on the board that you can go and interact with, they tend to just not be able to do anything about it, right? If we have a spell shielded unit on the board, like this deck here can, say, play a Tentacle Slam, or if you're playing against Demacia, they might have a Concerted Strike, and that's just going to get eaten by the spell shield. And so other than just having a massive pile of stats, they don't have a ton of ways to interact with what you're doing. And so he's going to be pretty good at like stopping our action here, but he's not going to be particularly good at getting a shutdown on our big combo style plays.
Not my first gunfight.
Okay. I just wanted to set this up to where we're going to start trading with his units. It's kind of tough for him to put differing like 3/3s on the board. The Sea's Voice is fine. We can like save up the Absolver to try and take this thing down if we want, but I'm not feeling spectacular about that. You can just hook action elsewhere. Maybe that's where we take it.
Don't stand in my way.
To say if he takes action into the Sea's Voice, then I want to play the Absolver. If he takes action into one of these smaller units, then we can just play Renekton and then still have mana behind. But now this should let us play Renekton and be able to attack into this board without losing him to anything. We'll see. Even if he drops like an Alawi here, this thing still kind of works. Picked up an Exhaust. Nice. Let us do them Renekton things real good. He can Tentacle Slam here. That would be kind of awkward, but he doesn't have it. And I'm pretty interested in just trying to take down the Bard. Just his biggest stat unit on the board. Okay. So now, if he attacks into Renekton, we should be getting a flip. Right, he's got 6 damages, needs 4 more damages for the flip. Says, I'm hungry. I'm a hungry alligator. All right, how do we feel about this? They can play a handful of like that thing that deals damage to your units to give 2 units vulnerable. But he shouldn't have enough to grow Alawi to take down our Renekton, right? She attacks with Alawi. Tentacle grows to 2. She gets the +2 and then only has 3 attack at that point. All right. Popped our thing. Didn't find a Papercraft. A little unfortunate. I'm curious if we even want to bother with these Ruin Runners and then want to just be all in with our Renekton. I'm pretty interested in this Pokey Stick, at least, given our opponent's board just full of 1 health units. So we're definitely going to be like exhausting Alawi. I don't want to spend a Ruthless Predator because I would like to... I would like to save this backup Renekton, should we need it.
Make it worth my while.
Okay. Show me them movies, please. And so, I mean, that's pretty decent for us. We've gotten rid of 1 Alawi, 1 Sea's Voice. We have a ton of mana here, so we need to spend it on something. I'm going to Pokey Stick the Bird. I think this is probably the safer route. Like, just it wouldn't be like wasted to spend it on the Tentacle and then him have Eye of Nagakaboros, but he has some potential there.
We move against fear, against doubt.
All right, looking strong. Action here to party as well. So I'll say like the only thing with this turn is I would like to get out of this turn with having 3 mana banked up. I don't think we'll be able to spend it all next turn, but I feel a little bit safer if we go into that next turn and then just have things a little bit more prepared. Right? If we have access to 8 mana, that's my real only concern, I guess.
May she look upon our journey with pride, or perhaps
Yeah, his tentacle's too small to be scary here.
rest yourself.
Cool. Oh. Hello, friend. Hello. Laser beam. GG.
Vengeance with a smile.
But I think that was a fairly decent illustration of what if we look at that game as saying we were playing the Gnar version, right? We may have been able to do some of that stuff. Like Renekton was clearly strong there because he's big enough to exhaust into a Ruthless Predator into Alawi and then take her down. And she really sucks on defense, right? She only has 1 attack. And so if that was a game to where we'd been doing those plays with Bard, or not with Bard, but doing it with Gnar, it would have looked a little worse. But on the flip side of that coin, it would have been fairly easy to set up a flip with Gnar and then try and take down champions that way. So it's tough. Renekton was definitely strong there that game. There's no denying it. Hang on to Bird. Look for our cheaper plays. Again, if our expensive play is Papercraft Dragon, I'll hang on to it. If our expensive play is Ruin Runner or Renekton, then I'll get rid of it. I think I'm just going to sit on this. Like, we don't have a lot going on here, and we do have these Pokey Sticks in hand. And so if we really want to interact with Bird or something, we can send out a Pokey Stick. But I kind of like to say, like, well, what if he plays like a Boom Baboon here that got boosted by a Chime? It would be nice to just trade out our Bell Ringer for that. We don't have a whole lot going on with our hand right now. I don't even really want to play Merciless Hunter. Let's do this. Let's just Pokey Stick the Bird, and then just plan to go to the next turn without playing anything. Yep, that's fine. So we get the full 3 bank, and then if on turn 4, if we overbank 1, that's not a huge deal. Could even look to just Pokey Stick this Boom Baboon. The biggest of baboons coming at us. I think we will look to clear these off the board. Like, our Ruin Runner does have 4 health at this point, but I want to Pokey Stick this baboon, and then we can try and hook the other one with our Merciless Hunter. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to lead with the Pokey Stick. Just to, kind of slow play it, give him an opportunity to add more units to the board. If he wants to make a like rummage into Flame Chompers and hook a unit out of the way or something, I don't give a shit about that. It's just I want to have our Ruin Runner be safe next turn. Suit up. Okay. So not that bad. Let's get him Varg. So we don't have to drop the Ruin Runner here. I was like, I'm curious as to what we actually draw, because it does start to leave it vulnerable, but I think this is okay. We can choose to just not attack with it if we want, right?
Rules are made to be broken, like buildings or people. That's right. Run!
Okay. It will be tough for us to try and pull off an OTK. We have the tools we need. It'll probably be fine. He does a rummage we don't care about. I'm just going to go ahead and load up the Ruin Runner. He shouldn't be able to burn through, but... holy shit. Holy shit. Dang, son. Man, we don't have... Oh, we have a Shaped Stone. Okay. Alright. I think we're okay now. Look at that. Look at that 20-piece nugget ready to come right at you. That has to feel so bad when you have like the double suit up kind of draw and you still just get annihilated. Can't feel good, right? Can't feel good.
Saw that a mile away. Out of the way.
Okay, here comes the 22. If he's going to block, we have to wall up the block. Then we'll be ready for the damages. He can technically have like a double get excited to shut this down, but man, that certainly takes a lot of work. He's got one get excited. Like, we have the Absolver. Maybe we should just hang on to it. Blow up the mana gem. Rip him. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, but see, I mean, that deck at least gets to interact a little bit, but man, Bard is so bad. He's so bad at the interactivity just because of the function of losing out on a faction. But cool. We're just out here being A, fun, and B, interactive. Okay, Poppy, Bard, Galio. It is like a little worrisome seeing some of these decks in that they can't just get like a ton of health, right? That can be a real pain in the dick to deal with for us to punch through. I think this matchup is probably going to be one of the more challenging Bard-based matchups with Demacia. They tend to not play like a ton of interactivity, but they have access to some. So it's not just like 100%, hey, here's my units. I think the example I used in the previous video was looking at a deck like Scouts, as to where they play Inspired Light, they play Sharp Sight, they play Golden Aegis, and then that's it. So they don't have tons of ways to interact with what you're putting on the board. They're very stat-based in what they're doing, and then that just interacts quite poorly with what we're bringing. This guy had another Chime. He hit one on the first turn onto his bird like a fucking boss, but okay. How scary is it to play Akshan? We have to wait after this combat. The bird's too good. Not the bird, the unit, the bird, the Petricite Broadwing. I'll Ruthless Predator it down or whatever he sends the hook on, that's okay. Take 5. And then our action is still pretty weak.
Scores to settle, cooks to kill. You know how it is.
Kind of like, I don't want to make a big exhaust play. I don't want to spend all of our resources just trying to take this bird down. But I am kind of okay in just hitting it with a Vacaran Vagabond. Well, I didn't realize she was a 4/4. That looks a lot better now.
Got this from a side quest.
Wipe it all.
Ready, Hammer?
Okay. Interesting. Does he have the Sharp Sight? Sharp Sight to the left is okay. I want these units to be small, right? I want them to have 2 attacks so we can protect our action. It looks like we're successfully there. It is a little bit worrisome the amount of damage we've taken here. But I think things are gonna be okay. This is brutal. Oh, if he has a Poppy, we're pretty dead. Penitent Squire's a little safer, but yeah, I think we're pretty done on this one. We have too many combat tricks. We didn't get to save enough. Maybe we got a little too aggressive on that last turn and shouldn't have played the Yordle Squire. And then we would have been a little bit safer because we'd have the additional unit on the board. I think I'd like that a little bit more. Well, we wouldn't have the additional unit. We would have been able to kill his unit.
Talk is worthless. We are what we do.
And yeah, we're too, like, we can attack, but he can just ignore all of our stuff. See what we predict to draw. He's gonna have to do something pretty dumb here. I don't think we can do this. Let's just save the time. All right. On to the last one. Our final battle is upon us. No 8-0s today. It's still a pretty good set. Pretty good set. We've had pretty positive win rate here. Either a 6-2 or a 5-3. Punching those people right out of right out of the top cut into seasonals. At any rate, like with the previous ones, I'll hang on to the Papercraft Dragon, but everything else gets to go. This is one of our very important matchups for seasonals as well. I expect a lot of Annie, and we're not really putting ourselves in a spot to ban it. Right? If we're still playing under the premise that we're going to be banning the Aphelios deck, that's just so common to see the two paired together. Let's go ahead and attack. Very easy for them to have a house spider here, and this isn't one of these matchups to where it's like ultra important to chunk in some early points of damage. So it looks like we did miss out on a couple of points of damage here, but it's not the end of the world. Make it rain's fine. Alright, so hopefully we can at least find something to do before turn 5. Yeah, just banking through one turn isn't that bad, but it can start to get painful a little bit later on. Then let's just see what happens here. I'm not expecting big things out of this Renekton, and I'm not going to do anything to protect him. I'm kind of hoping that opponent just says, cool, I'm about to play some spells on this thing, and so I'm just going to pass and let you attack, and I'm going to block. I'm 100% planning on just passing this turn, and then coming into next turn and setting up the Ruin Runner Papercraft. Alrighty, let's see where that gets us. Ooh, a Disintegrate plus Make It Rain? Oh, that's kind of brutal. He's already played the one Make It Rain. Now he has a way to kill our Renekton plus pop our Spell Shield. Fucking disaster. Red card, same deal. Okay. Pretty good, my dude. Pretty good. So do we have to just go for it here? He's played one... Well, he can just stun now, which is... Oh, he's down to 2 mana? Fucking A. Sometimes you just win, right? Fucking A. But that was like the actual disaster loading up, and that he could bring the answer to both of our units. But sometimes they just don't have it. Sometimes you just jump in there and get them like that. So not bad, not bad. Nice collection of games. And so again, in our previous video, we played the very similar Gnar deck and went 8-0, and now with this one. You kind of swap out Renekton and a couple of other cards, and we went 6-2. Both pretty good showings, again, for a deck that I'm planning on taking to seasonals. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about it in terms of, do I want to play Gnar, do I want to play Renekton, and then do I also want to include some amount of predicts into the deck. I haven't fully decided on the final list, but I do know that I want to bring this to bring this to seasonals, and so just ultimately had pretty good success with it. I remember the other deck, we're going to be bringing Fizz Riven, and so the idea is we're bringing the Draven Burn, we're bringing this, we're bringing Fizz Riven, and then we're looking to bring bans onto Aphelios Fizz, or Aphelios Fizz, whatever Aphelios deck. I'll still ban Aphelios Fizz. I don't give a shit. I'm not dealing with Aphelios this week. So we're looking to just ban him. We're looking to have good matchups against both Twisted Fate Annie and Heimerdinger Jace. As an extension of that, we also have pretty decent matchups against a lot of the on-meta aggro decks like tokens. And then we're just conceding that matchups like Talia Lysandra are miserable. And so matchups like I call them the Blighted Ravine decks, things like Talia Lysandra are bad, things like Trundlemere are bad. If we play against some lineup sporting, Talia Lysandra and Trundlemere and something else, we're just going to lose. Ideally, if we play some kind of lineup that plays, say, like Aphelios plus Talia Lysandra plus something else, then we can just 2-0 the something else. You have to, like, the way that the metas are so wide open, you just have to pick something to say, fuck it, I'll lose. And Talia Lysandra has been what I chose to be our losing deck. And so if that's what happens, if that is what it is, then it is what it is. But those are the three we're looking to bring. I'm just not sure what flavor of Akshan Renekton or Akshan Gnar I want to bring. And I'm not sure how much I want to tech for the mirror in terms of playing things like Quicksand. I do expect this is probably a deck if you're just hanging out in platinum or hanging out in gold. You're probably not seeing a ton of this. This is one of the newer hits of the meta this week. But I think everyone in seasonals is going to be fully expecting this and primed and ready and probably bringing it themselves. And so I think this will be the kind of big up-and-comer good deck of the event. But if we kind of like look back to Aphelios Fizz at last seasonals, it was far and away the best deck in the format, and it didn't really get any respect. And so I really don't know what the deal is with the LOR metas and people not picking up on the decks, but these Renekton and Gnar decks are the real deal, and the meta hasn't really responded to dealing with them, right? You need Freylord-based flash freezes, so you have your Three Sisters and your flash freeze kind of cards, or you need things like Vengeance and Vile Feasts to start coming in and picking off the units. This is a very vulnerable strategy, don't get me wrong, but the way the meta has come together, people aren't really adapting to this kind of strategy. It's like the Yuumi Pantheon left the meta, nothing filled the void. This is the deck that fills the void of Yuumi Pantheon, but the decks in the format haven't adapted to that, hey, smash them up, go tall deck, just blast you in the face kind of thing. And so it's quite good on the ladder right now. But, I highly recommend it. Jump to one of the various deck building sites if you want to find a different flavor of it. The things that I have come to fully recommend with this is I do like Rite of Negation more than Friendship. I think if you're ever going to, if you're only going to play 3 of these cards, I want to play 3 Rite of Negation, 0 Friendship. I don't want to play 1 Friendship, 2 Rites. I could see an argument for playing 4 cards, and if you do want to play 4, then I would play the 3 Rites plus the 1 Friendship. I am pretty happy with the 3 Wallops. I'm pretty happy with the 3 Pokesticks. I think it's really just a matter of messing around with the numbers of Exhausts and Ruthless Predators and Shaped Stones, at least here in the Renekton version. I could also see an argument for cutting Vakira and Vagabond, although I've been pretty happy with it. If you're going to be cutting Vagabonds, I think I would want to look towards the 2-3 Predict unit. But otherwise, I think these lists are pretty locked and loaded and pretty good. And so, hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you you learned to feed your Varg. That's what he says. You've got another meal for Renekton, and then I forget what the Merciless Hunter says. She say, let's get him Varg, or let's feed him Varg. I don't remember, but do one of those things, all right? Make that a part of your day. And then I hope you enjoyed the video. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.